Heartwarming mix-up, young mom accidentally sends baby's prescription to CEO discover his life. Jessica stumbled out of bed, blinking against the morning light that flooded her small kitchen. The clock on the wall mocked her, reminding her of the tight schedule ahead. Leo, her newborn son, cooed softly from his crib, unaware of the long day that lay ahead of them. At just 28, she juggled 2 jobs, barely scraping by to keep the lights on and provide for the little boy who had become her world. The medication Leo needed for his condition wasn't just a luxury, it was a lifeline. As she gathered scattered papers, exhaustion threatened to drown her. She clutched Leo's prescription tightly in her hand, hoping this time it wouldn't get lost in the chaos of her life. With hurried steps, she grabbed her things while gently rocking Leo in her other arm. She knew she was running late for her first job at the diner, a place where customers occasionally left tips if she was lucky. As she got into her beat-up car, her mind was divided between thoughts of work and worrying about Leo. She tossed the prescription on the passenger seat, telling herself she'd get it to the pharmacy on her break. On the opposite side of the state, Tom sat in his sleek office, surrounded by accolades and the scent of luxury. As the CEO of a major pharmaceutical company, he was expected to be all business, pushing profits to new heights. But today felt different. A wave of schedule overload gnawed at him, the monotony threatening to stifle the man he once was. His assistant handed him an envelope, a mix-up from somewhere, and without much thought, he tore it open. Inside, he found not just a prescription, but a heartfelt letter detailing Jessica's struggles, how she worked every hour she could, how she fought to give Leo a better life, and her deep fear that she might fail him. The words struck him like a jolt. He paused, his heart heavy with a strange familiar ache he thought he'd buried beneath board meetings and profit margins. This woman, this mother, was fighting a battle he had long ago forgotten, and it filled him with an unsettling mix of empathy and rage at the system he had upheld. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Spurred by desperation, Jessica drove to the towering corporate building, her heart racing. The polished marble and excessive luxury overwhelmed her as she stood in the lobby, gripping the handwritten letter as if it could grant her strength. Would he listen? Would he care? Then she spotted Tom across the lobby, staring in shock at the paper in his hands. In that moment, the world around them blurred, the richness of their lives starkly contrasting. Here she was, trembling in her worn jeans, the weight of motherhood heavy on her shoulders. Here he was, cloaked in power and privilege. Their eyes locked, a silent understanding passing between them, a realization of shared humanity in a world that often felt so divided. Tom slowly approached Jessica, his expression shifting from disbelief to genuine concern. I want to help, he said quietly, and her heart swelled with a mix of anger and hope. Could this man truly bridge their worlds, or was she just deluding herself? As the air buzzed with tension, Jessica felt the magnitude of their lives, their values clashing in a moment that seemed to stretch forever. Would they find a way to connect amidst their disparate realities, or would pride and fear turn them away from the chance to create something beautiful? Jessica's heart hammered in her chest as Tom stepped closer, the gap between their worlds narrowing in that instant. She could see the conflict written on his face, his desire to help clashing with the reality he'd built, one that often overlooked people like her. Leo needs this medication, she began, her voice shaking just enough to betray her fear. I don't have the money to pay for it out of pocket, and the insurance. She trailed off, not wanting to drown in the sea of financial struggles that loomed high. Tom's brow furrowed, a deep concern etched into his features. I need to know more, he said, holding her gaze. It felt like an unspoken promise hung in the air between them. Without another thought, he gestured for her to follow him. She hesitated for a moment, caught between hope and the gut-wrenching fear that it could all slip away. the elevator ride was steeped in silence, both lost in their thoughts. Jessica felt the walls of the polished elevator press against her, the sleekness of it all was so far removed from her daily grind. Tom cleared his throat as they reached the top, and Jessica followed him into an office bathed in warm sunlight and plush furniture that felt intimidating. "Have a seat," he offered, his tone softer now. She perched on the edge of the chair, still clutching her letter as if it were a lifebuoy. They talked about Leo, his condition, and the expensive treatments she struggled to afford. With every word, she laid bare more of herself than she had ever planned. Tom listened intently, nodding as she spoke. The way he absorbed her story made her feel seen, but the shadows in her heart reminded her that this moment could just be a fleeting encounter. Finally, after what felt like forever, Tom leaned back in his chair, his expression thoughtful. "I cannot make promises," he said, "but I can connect you with our team. There are programs assistants that you might qualify for." Her breath caught, a flicker of hope igniting within her chest. "You really mean that?" "Yes." His eyes softened, and for a moment, the steeliness of a CEO faded into a genuine human connection. "I need to do something more. This isn't just business anymore." In that moment, Jessica felt the weight of all her sacrifices and the sleepless nights hanging heavy over her. She wanted to believe him, to trust in the kindness that seemed so foreign amidst her struggles. "Thank you, but why are you doing this?" You're a CEO, she managed, surprised by the tread of vulnerability in her own voice. Tom hesitated. "I've been drowning too, you know. Just in a different kind of way. I lost touch with what really matters." His admission struck Jessica deeply. This man, surrounded by success, was fighting his own demons. And perhaps he wasn't so different after all. They shared a quiet moment, processing the weight of their entanglement that felt bigger than both of them. Just as she thought their connection might lead somewhere, Tom's phone buzzed sharply, breaking the trance. The world they'd begun to build together slipped back into reality. "I've got to take this," he said, glancing at the screen with a frown. "But let us continue this conversation. I want to find a way." As he walked away, the promise lingered. Her heart surged with hope, yet the apprehension of uncertainty loomed just as large. Would Tom really follow through? Would her struggle finally lead to something better for Leo? As Jessica stepped out of the office, a mix of apprehension and hope twisted in her gut. This encounter could change everything, or it could lead to another dead end. Heart racing, she wondered if fate was finally giving her a break or if this was just another fleeting moment of kindness. But just then, her phone buzzed, a message lighting up the screen. It was from her sister, a reminder of the family gathering coming up, a place filled with judgment about her choices. Could she really face them knowing that help might be at hand? Jessica took a deep breath. Was she ready to share her hope with others, or would she keep this secret close to her heart? Jessica stared at her phone, a knot of dread forming in her stomach. "Family gathering this Saturday," the message read. Just the thought of facing her sister filled her with anxiety. They always had their family get-togethers, but this one was different. They would be all eyes and judgments, measuring her life against their seemingly perfect paths. She took a moment to quell the rising tide of uncertainty. She had just met Tom, who might be her path to assistance. It felt wrong to live in hope when her reality was so fragile, but could she really hide that flicker of possibility? Her phone buzzed again, the screen lighting up with a notification. It was another message, Tom's name flashing like a beacon. "I'll follow up with you in the morning," it read. "Let us make a plan. You're not alone in this." Tears threatened to spill over, catching her off guard. Mixed emotions swirled within her, relief at his commitment and anxiety about how fickle hope could be. Would she dare to believe in him, and then absolutely face her family after all of this? With a deep breath, she smoothed the fabric of her jeans, focusing on the moment. She whispered, "This is for Leo." He was her universe, her reason for pushing through every obstacle. He deserved the best, and if Tom could offer a lifeline, She had to be brave. As she made her way to the cafe down the block, where the ambient clinking of cups and cheerful chatter wrapped around her like a hug, she couldn't help but ponder how life had led her here. Just a few days ago, she never even imagined standing in an office with a CEO, much less one willing to help. After ordering a comforting cup of coffee, she sank into a corner seat by the window, hoping the warm light would cradle her growing hopes. The world outside seemed oblivious to her turmoil, busy with its daily hustle. A father adjusted his son's hat as they walked hand in hand. An elderly couple shared a laugh that echoed like music. It felt surreal. How could everyone be living in their own narratives when hers felt so heavy and uncertain? The cafe door swung open. Jessica turned her head, detecting a flicker of movement she couldn't quite dismiss. She caught a glimpse of Tom walking past, deep in thought, a coffee cup cradled in his hands. Her heart fluttered. In that moment, she realized she might not just be a case study for him. She was a person, a mother grappling with her every fear and joy, but what would happen if he saw her in a different light? What if, amid this burgeoning friendship, there lay the chance for something more? Jessica felt the thrill of doubt creeping back in, waging war with the hope she was trying to cultivate. Would he really care, or was this just charity in disguise? Then her phone rang, breaking the chain of her thoughts. It was an unfamiliar number. Cautiously, she answered. Hello. Jessica. It's Sarah at the clinic. We have some updates regarding Leo's medication. Heat rushed to her cheeks. Was this news that would shatter the hope she had begun to nourish? Can you come by today? Sarah continued. Jessica nodded but quickly remembered she was on the phone. Yes, of course. I'll be there shortly. She hung up, heart racing. This could be a turning point, or another wave of disappointment. Gripping the essential pieces of her life tightly, she rose to leave, heart full, yet aching with uncertainty. As she stepped out into the brisk air, her thoughts tangled around the possibilities ahead. Little did she know, the updates at the clinic could alter everything she dared to hope for, once more shifting the course of her already tumultuous journey. Would this be the breakthrough she needed, or another cruel twist in her story? Jessica hurried down the street, her mind racing with a mix of hope and dread. The chilly air bit at her cheeks, as if trying to wake her from her daze. Each step felt heavy, weighted by the potential change that awaited her. What could Sarah possibly have to tell her? With Leo's condition always in the back of her mind, her heart pounded in her chest. The thought of a breakthrough was almost too much to bear. As she approached the clinic, she paused, gathering her thoughts. She took a deep breath, trying to steady her nerves. She couldn't show fear. Leo needed someone strong, someone who could face whatever was thrown their way. She rounded the corner and stepped through the glass doors, greeted by the familiar scent of antiseptic mingled with something floral from the waiting area. Hey, Jessica. Over here. Sarah waved her over, a bright smile contrasting with the sterile surroundings. Hey, Jessica replied, trying to match Sarah's enthusiasm was a challenge, but she forced a smile. Let's talk in my office. I think you'll be relieved to hear this. Sarah said, leading her down the corridor. Jessica's pulse quickened as dread intertwined with a whisper of optimism. What if Sarah had good news? As they entered the office, decorated with cheerful drawings from young patients, Jessica sat on the edge of the chair, gripping her purse tightly. After closing the door, Sarah leaned forward, her expression serious yet kind. We've reviewed Leo's case again, and I'm pleased to say that there are some new options for medication that we believe might work better. Jessica's breath caught. Better how? How much better? I can't make any promises, but with the right combination, we might see a significant improvement in his responses. It's a new regime we're excited about. Relief flooded Jessica, a warmth spreading from her chest through her limbs. Are you serious? Absolutely, Sarah said, her eyes sparkling. The research is promising, and I believe we can start this week. Jessica felt tears welling up in her eyes, happy tears. It was as if the clouds that had loomed overhead for so long had finally parted, letting sunlight through. Thank you so much. This could change everything for him. Sarah nodded, sharing in Jessica's joy. I just wish you didn't have to stress so much while managing everything else. I know it's tough, really tough. Jessica inhaled deeply, willing herself to remain composed. But this is hope. As they sat together, the moment felt transformative. Just when she had begun to feel crushed under the weight of uncertainty, here it was, opportunity knocking. But then, a flicker of concern crossed Jessica's face. What if my family doesn't understand? What if they judge how I'm handling everything? Like the last time? Sweetheart, everyone has their own story. Don't let their judgments define you, Sarah replied gently. Jessica nodded slowly, knowing deep down that the gathering loomed ahead. The thought of being compared to her sister and others made her stomach twist. I just want to focus on Leo, on us. Then that's what you should do, Sarah smiled. You're doing amazing, Jessica. Jessica felt a sense of confidence bubbling inside her, fueled by Sarah's encouragement. Maybe this was her time to stand firm in her choices, to be the mother Leo deserved. As she stepped out of the clinic, the air felt different, the weight lifted, if only a little. She gazed around the bustling world beyond the glass doors, feeling light on her feet. She had something to hold on to after all, and maybe the family gathering wouldn't feel so daunting after this news that in that moment, a thought struck her. With Tom's offer of support and this potential change at the clinic, what if she could reshape her life? Could she really balance it all? Determined, Jessica pulled out her phone and typed a quick message to Tom. I got good news about Leo. Can we meet later? As she hit send, a new feeling settled within her, anticipation. But just as quickly, doubt snuck in. Was she taking too much on? Moments later, her phone buzzed again. Of course. I could use a break from work anyway. Let us talk. You're doing amazing things. She smiled, but fear flickered in her mind. Would Tom continue to be there after all the chaotic twists of her life? As she continued walking, her thoughts spiraled. Her phone rang, breaking her focus again. It was her sister calling, the number display sending a jolt of anxiety through her again. Jessica hesitated, staring at the screen. Should she answer now, or let it go to voicemail? What would her sister want to say, exactly? With her heart racing, she took a deep breath, readying herself for the conversation ahead. Jessica hesitated, her heart pounding as she stared at her sister's name flashing on her phone. Memories flooded her, arguments over parenting choices, judgmental glances during family gatherings, whispers that always felt louder around her. She thought of Leo, the one constant who needed her now more than ever. With a deep breath, she tapped the green button. Hey, she said, trying to sound casual, while her heart felt like it was in her throat. Jessica. It's been a while, her sister chimed, a touch of casual cheer in her voice that didn't match the tension brewing within Jessica. Yeah, I guess it has, Jessica replied, her voice shaky as she forced herself to keep the conversation light. What's up? I wanted to see how you and Leo are doing. Mom mentioned some new treatments. Jessica felt the warmth from the news she had just received, align uncomfortably with the old narratives she feared. We've got some new medication options, she offered, hoping her tone was bright enough to match Sarah's. Things might be looking up, finally. Really? That's great. Lee's reply seemed genuine, but Jessica couldn't shake the skepticism. Yeah, I'm hopeful, Jessica responded with a slight smile. How are things with you? Oh, you know. Her sister paused, the silence stretching. I had the kids over the weekend, and we went to that new park. You should bring Leo next time. Jessica's stomach twisted. Family adaptability had never felt like a strong suit. Would Leo really be welcomed under such scrutiny? That sounds fun. I'll think about it. Jessica. You're doing everything you can. But I know how hard it is when you feel alone, her sister said gently, sensing the hesitation. She bristled at that. I'm not alone. Well, you know I'm here if you need. Thanks, Jessica cut in, a bit sharper than intended. I appreciate it. The conversation drifted, awkward pauses punctuating the airwaves. Each sentence felt like a patchwork of emotions: weariness, hope, and an undercurrent of doubt. You should really take a break sometime. Maybe we can go for coffee. There was a long silence. Jessica could hear the rustling of papers or maybe her sister's fingers tapping against a surface. I'll be there on Sunday for Mom's brunch, her sister finally said, caution threading through her words. Yeah, about that. How's Leo really doing? The question hung in the air, deep and cutting. Jessica felt her defenses rise. He's doing as well as he can. Just, trying to get by. A cold weight settled in her stomach as she pictured that day. Family, her sister's judgment, and their kids would all unveil their expectations. Would they see her as a mom barely keeping it together? Or would they see Leo as the beautiful boy he truly was? Jessica, our family loves Leo, you know that, her sister said softly again, breaking through her turbulent thoughts. We're all just worried. Everyone wants to help. Jessica swallowed hard. I know. I want to do this my way. I want to focus on Leo, not feel like I have to justify everything. Okay, I understand. Just remember you're not alone. I'll call later, her sister said, and before Jessica could respond, the line went dead. Letting out a frustrated huff, Jessica tucked her phone away, feeling the heat rise in her cheeks. Why was it so hard? Couldn't people just give her space to breathe? Just then, a gentle breeze caught her off guard, cooling her flushed face. Suddenly, she noticed a small park nearby, colorful swings creaking in the wind, children laughing freely with joyful abandon. The vibrant scene set her heart racing again, not just with worry for Leo but for her own unsettled feelings. Could she make that leap of faith? Could she truly trust her family to accept her choices? As she turned to leave, a woman holding a small toddler caught her eye. The toddler waved, beaming at Jessica, and an unexpected smile broke across her face. There was a brief moment of connection, hope unfurling. Maybe she didn't have to go into that family gathering alone, or maybe she would surprise them all. With newfound determination, she pulled out her phone again. Before she could second guess, she started typing a new message to Tom. Can we talk sooner? I might want to make some changes. Before she hit send, her heart fluttered as the thought flashed. What if this is what she needed to really embrace next steps? Just as she hit send, another notification popped up. It was an email from the clinic, updates on Leo's profile and next steps. Jessica's breath quickened as she opened it, only to find a note about an upcoming specialist consultation. Suddenly, the prospect sent her spiraling. Was she ready for this? But as she glanced around the park again, she saw the joy all around her and felt that warmth pressing against her heart. Perhaps the new chapter was just beginning, and she wasn't alone after all. In that moment of uncertainty, the email's subject line loomed large. Could this be an answer she wasn't expecting? What would it reveal about the reality she thought she knew? Jessica's hands trembled as she read the email. Familiar anxiety gripped her, pulling her toward the dark corners of doubt. Would the specialist be able to truly help Leo? She couldn't shake the idea that perhaps this path might also expose her vulnerabilities. She took a deep breath and forced herself to focus. The email included a link to book an appointment. I can do this, she whispered to herself. It's for Leo. He deserves the best chance, no matter the effort it takes from her. As she clicked the link, the screen was filled with available dates and times. Her heart raced as she noticed how swiftly her fingers scrolled. What if the next appointment came too soon? What if it was too late? The urgency of each tick of the clock hammered against her chest, just like the memories of the past. Suddenly, her phone buzzed again. Tom's name flickered on the screen, and the surge of hope brought a smile to her face. Maybe talking to him was the piece she needed to feel grounded. Answering it felt like a step toward balance. "Hey, Jessica. I got your message." Tom's voice filled her ears with a light warmth, although she could hear some underlying concern as well. "What is going on? You seem a little tense." "I just got some news from the clinic about an appointment. The specialist can see us next week," she explained, the words tumbling out before she could catch them. "Wow, that's great. Are you okay with it?" There was genuine enthusiasm in his tone, layered with a quiet understanding of her apprehension. "I'm not sure," Jessica admitted, the weight of uncertainty crashing down again. What if it doesn't go well? What if they aren't able to help him? Each question curled around her thoughts, holding her captive. "Whatever happens, you're not alone in this," he said, the sincerity wrapping around her like a warm hug. "You know I'm here for you, and we'll figure it out together." A soft sigh escaped her lips as relief trickled in. Maybe, just maybe, she could lean on Tom. Maybe she didn't have to fight this battle solo. The idea felt strangely liberating. "Thanks, Tom. I really mean it," Jessica replied, her voice softening. "I just want to make sure I'm doing everything right for him." "You are. You're doing your best every day," he reassured her. "Let us meet up soon and talk more about this." "Yeah, maybe over coffee," she suggested, a smile forming. "Sounds perfect. I'll bring the cookies," he joked, and she laughed, rediscovering a little joy amidst the worry. After hanging up, she felt a flicker of hope ignite within her. For the first time in a long while, she believed that moving forward didn't have to be so daunting. Maybe it could be refreshing, a chance to embrace change instead of fearing it. She closed her eyes, imagining Leo, his bright smile illuminating her darkest moments. What would he think about all these possibilities? She hoped he'd feel the strength she was trying to muster. As she stepped out of the park, she glanced one last time at the swings, watching the children play, their laughter ringing in the air. What if she introduced Leo to that joy? That innocent laughter? The thought lit a spark in her. Perhaps visiting the park with him could be the first step towards acceptance, not just for her but for the family as well. If they could truly see Leo, the boy he was, maybe they could bridge the gap. But the idea twisted into another emotion: fear of judgment, fear of letting Leo down if it didn't go as planned. Yet for once, instead of backing down, she allowed the excitement to bubble up. Just then, she remembered the email again. She opened it back up, wanting to double-check the details. But as she revisited the inbox, she noticed another email had arrived this time, something from her mother. Opening it was like peeling back an old wound. "Jessica, we'll discuss Leo this Sunday. Important family matters." Jessica's heart raced. What family matters? Did they know something she didn't? Was this where everything would change? The weight pressed heavily on her chest as she pondered what it could mean for her and Leo. The possibilities swirled in her mind like a storm as she clutched her phone tightly. Would she find the courage to approach her family? Or would she crumble under their scrutiny once more? Whatever happened next would be pivotal. And just like that, she realized, the biggest leap of faith was still ahead of her. Jessica sat on the edge of her bed, her phone pressed tight against her chest. Sunday loomed closer, a heavy cloud of uncertainty hanging over her heart. Important family matters felt ominous, a reminder of past challenges and unspoken judgments. She could almost hear her mother's voice, laced with concern, wanting to discuss Leo, her precious boy who faced a world too big and complex for his tender spirit. She stood up slowly, pacing the small space as her thoughts spun. How could she explain Leo? How could she bridge the gap between her family's expectations and her reality? They were used to seeing perfection, and Leo's quirks didn't fit into that picture. The mere idea of facing their scrutiny turned her stomach upside down. She needed clarity. She needed support. The appointment with the specialist next week felt pivotal in mapping out their future. Anxiety and hope wrestled inside her, leaving her breathless. She pulled up Tom's contact again and typed out a quick message, "Can we talk before Sunday? I could really use a friend." Waiting for his reply felt like an eternity. The ticking clock echoed in the silence, reminding her of time slipping away. Then her phone buzzed. A text from Tom, "Absolutely. How about meeting at our usual spot tomorrow?" Relief washed over her. A friend who understood her struggles would help ease the weight on her shoulders. "See you then," she texted back, her mind beginning to calm. Later that evening, she found herself scrolling through photos of Leo, recalling moments that captured his unfiltered joy: the first time he rode a bike, the way he danced in the living room. Each image sent a rush of warmth through her. "You're amazing, Leo," she whispered, imagining him here with her, laughing at her silly mom moves. That night, sleep eluded her. Instead, her mind raced with what might happen at dinner on Sunday. She fumbled with her phone, calling on the one source of reassurance she could find: the specialist's email. She read it again, hopeful that the words would sink in deeper. It felt like a lifeline. As morning arrived, she forced herself into a routine. She showered, dressed, and even forced a breakfast down her throat, all while mentally preparing for her meeting with Tom. He was a breath of fresh air, someone who could see Leo's beauty without dismissing the challenges. When they met at the cafe, the familiar ambience wrapped around her like warmth on a cold day. She smiled as Tom approached, holding 2 steaming cups of coffee, and pulled out a chair for her. "Hey. I got your favorite," he said, his smile infectious. "Thanks. I really need this," she replied, giving herself a beat to breathe. She felt her walls crumble just a fraction. After some light chatter, the conversation drifted to the upcoming family meeting. "Can you tell me more about what's on your mind?" Tom asked gently, studying her. I have a feeling they'll want to talk about Leo. Family matters can feel heavy, and I don't want to feel judged," her voice strained, vulnerability spilling forth. Tom nodded thoughtfully. "What if you approached it differently? Maybe frame it as sharing Leo's world. They might surprise you." His words struck a chord. What if she shared how extraordinary Leo was, despite their differences? Maybe, just maybe, they would see the tapestry of love that held their family together. A wave of emotion surged within her. "You're right. I want them to see him, not through my fears, but through his light." They finished their coffee, and Jessica felt lighter. Tom's steadfast belief in her helped ignite newfound courage. As she left the cafe, she looked forward, not just to Sunday but to each step she'd take to share Leo's story. The memories of laughter and the comforts of her son filled her heart with strength. But as she headed home, her phone buzzed again. Another message from her mother. "We need to discuss your choices regarding Leo." That one simple message crashed over her like a wave. What choices? Could those wash away everything she hoped for? The tightness in her chest returned, stronger than before, and she knew the next chapter of their story was about to unfold. Jessica's heart raced as she stared at the screen, her mother's words lingering, heavy in the air. Choices? What were they talking about? Desperate for clarity, she pulled into the nearest parking lot. She needed a moment, a space to think, to breathe, and to find the courage she felt slipping away. She turned off the engine, sat in silence, and let the sunlight filter through the leaves overhead. It was a beautiful day, yet the brightness felt like a cruel joke against her growing storm. Her thoughts spiraled back to her mother and the family meeting. Memories of other dinners flashed through her mind, laughter, warmth, but always with a whisper of expectation. What if this time it was different? What if they didn't understand? Focus on Leo, she whispered to herself, gripping the steering wheel. He's the priority. But how could she explain his world? To show the beauty of his quirks, his fierce imagination, and the way he loved freely? It felt daunting, sharing his story with people who had always preferred the conventional, a family portrait shaped by uniformity. She took a deep breath, her phone buzzing again. It was Tom. Hey, thinking about you. You good? She hesitated, then typed back. Not really. My mom just texted. She wants to talk about choices regarding Leo. Silence enveloped her as the dots danced on the screen. Almost immediately, he replied. Just remember, you're doing an amazing job. No one knows Leo like you do. His words felt like a lifeline thrown into turbulent waters. She smiled, the small kindness warming her chest. Thanks, Tom. I really need that right now. She didn't want to let the shadows of doubt creep in. Not now. Not when she was so close to facing her fears. As she drove home, her mind shifted gears, focusing on the positive possibilities. What if, she thought, they see how special Leo is? What if they embrace him as he is? Arriving home, she found Leo surrounded by puzzles, lost in a world of vivid colors and intricate shapes. Glancing at him, her heart swelled. The way he concentrated, his furrowed brows and tiny tongue poking out in concentration, he was perfect just the way he was. Hey, buddy. She called, kneeling beside him. How about we take a break and talk a little? Leo looked up, a grin lighting up his face. Mom, look. I made a dragon. It can breathe fire, see? The excitement in his voice melted her worries. They spent the next hour playing and imagining together, weaving stories about adventures in magical lands. With him, the world felt full of possibilities, not limitations, but as the sun dipped lower, the clock reminded Jessica of the looming dinner. She felt a knot tighten in her stomach again. She couldn't shake off the dread of her mother's expectations. What if they don't accept him? What if they insist on fixing him? The anticipation gnawed at her as she laid Leo down for bed. Tucking him in felt like wrapping her heart in safety. No matter what, I'll protect you, she whispered, brushing a kiss across his forehead. Later that night, as she prepared her thoughts for the family dinner, Jessica's phone chimed with another message from Tom. You've got this. Just be honest. They see the incredible kid he is. She took a deep breath, the tiny embers of hope flickering into a flame. What if they see? She pondered aloud. But those thoughts slipped away when she opened her mother's group chat, a family cauldron of expectations bubbling with concern. Jessica, you've got to be prepared, her sister's words began, and the rest blurred into a haze of anxiety. For the first time, she felt as if she was swimming against a current. What if all this preparation was futile? A sudden thought struck her, and the weight of their judgments rested heavily. What would it take for them to see the love, the joy, and the complexities of their family? Morning would come fast, and soon it would all unravel. Would she be able to share Leo's light amidst the shadows of judgment? As she drifted off to an uneasy sleep, one question lingered in her mind: was she ready to fight for her son, no matter what? The dawn would bring clarity, or perhaps more questions, as the family meeting loomed nearer. The sun rose slowly, draping its golden rays across Jessica's quiet home. She blinked awake, the weight of the day ahead sinking in. Today was the day, the family meeting. Her heart pounded with every thought of what was to come. She tiptoed to Leo's room, needing to see him one more time before the world outside shattered her peace. He was still asleep, his chest rising and falling in that rhythmic way that filled her with love. She watched for a moment, still, heart full. Sweet boy, she whispered, tucking the blanket under his chin, you have no idea how much I need you to be brave today. After showering and dressing, she stood in front of the mirror, practicing her words. Mom, Dad, this is Leo, this is who he is. But the reality felt sharp, cutting the air around her. How could she convey the magic he held within? The vastness of his imagination wouldn't fit in their narrow views. She grabbed her phone, hands shaking slightly as she tapped out a message to Tom. I'm scared. What if they don't see him like I do? The short wait felt like an eternity. Her phone buzzed, and his quick reply cheered her. You know what matters. Just stay strong. Love will win. With Tom's encouragement ringing in her heart, Jessica prepped breakfast, forcing herself to stay busy. The familiar scent of eggs and toast filled the kitchen, but she barely tasted a bite. Her mind was racing as she put together snacks for the road. "Mom." Leo's voice interrupted her thoughts, sweet and playful. "What's for breakfast?" She turned around to face him, and her heart swelled anew. There he stood, no walls, no boundaries, the essence of pure joy. If only they could see him through her eyes, she needed them to. "Just some eggs, love," she said, her smile bursting forth. "And I made your favorite fruit salad." He climbed onto a stool, his face lighting up as he grabbed a fork. "You are the best chef, Mom. I could eat this all day." They ate together, the warmth of his laughter melting away some of Jessica's fears. Yet, as the clock ticked, the reality of leaving for her parents' house loomed over her. Soon, they were in the car, Leo chattering about his new dragon creation, his imagination igniting. The drive felt too still, every quiet moment was filled with her bubbling doubts. "Leo, what would you do if we had to show a big group of people who you are?" He turned toward her, puzzled but intrigued. "I would invite them to my dragon's castle. We could have a huge party with games and magic." His innocence wrapped around Jessica, a shield against her anxieties. "That sounds amazing," she said, smiling wide, hoping for that magic to touch her family too. When they finally arrived, a hush fell over her as they walked to the front door. She took Leo's hand, squeezing it tightly. The door swung open, and the house filled with the familiar sound of her family's chatter. Each laugh felt like a wave crashing against the rocks of her resolve. Gathering her courage, she stepped inside. "Hey, everyone. This is Leo," she called, standing tall. Their gazes shifted, some curious, others uncertain. "Hi, Leo," her mother said, trying for warmth. But the undertone of worry was evident. As they settled into the living room, Jessica felt the weight of the room shift. Eyes roamed to Leo, an inspection rather than an invitation. She could see the judgments brewing, the moment teetering on the edge. "All right, here we go," she breathed out as her heart raced again. But just as she opened her mouth to speak, Leo's excitement bubbled over. "Did you know dragons can't breathe fire if they're not happy?" Silence enveloped the room, and suddenly all the attention shifted back to him. Jessica held her breath, praying the spark of joy in her son would light the darkness they were standing in. But would it be enough? An unexpected voice broke through her thoughts. Her sister stepped forward, intrigued. "What do dragons need to be happy then, Leo?" The air shifted then, filled with uncertainty and hope. Jessica watched, a mixture of dread and anticipation swirling within her. Could this be the turning point she needed? As Leo's face lit up with excitement, the room held its breath. What other surprises lay ahead in this family meeting? And beneath it all, Jessica couldn't shake the feeling that the real battle had only just begun. Jessica felt the thrill of adrenaline racing through her veins as Leo began sharing his world, the colorful tales of dragons that sprang to life in his mind. The room snapped into focus, her family leaning forward, intrigued, captivated by Leo's unfiltered excitement. "They just need love and adventure," he proclaimed, his chin lifted high, bright eyes sparkling. Each word he shared painted vivid images: castles with glittering towers, magical creatures soaring through the skies, and brave knights embarking on epic quests. Jessica could see her mother's expression soften, intrigue overshadowing skepticism. There was something primal in these stories, something any heart could recognize, the power of imagination. "Would you like to come to the castle for a day?" Leo continued, unabashedly inviting them into a world where magic was not just a fantasy, but a part of his everyday life. Each family member exchanged glances, surprised by the depths Leo offered, and for the first time, Jessica didn't feel like the odd one out. She felt a sense of unity forming, a bridge building between who Leo was and how her family perceived him. After another breath-holding pause, her sister smiled. "Wow, Leo, that sounds so cool. What kind of adventures do you go on?" Leo launched right into his favorite quest, rescuing a baby dragon that had found itself in trouble. His small hands animatedly punctuated every detail, and with each twist and turn, tension in the room melted away, replaced by laughter and shared imagination. Suddenly, a rush of warmth surrounded Jessica. Could it be? Could they embrace her precious child, flaws and all? Leo, remember what you said about inviting people for magic time? What if we all had a day like that? Jessica suggested carefully. Share some more stories and maybe even explore something together. I'd love that. Everyone could be a knight. And we can all learn to fly, Leo beamed, his excitement bubbling over again. Her mother shifted in her seat, a soft smile stretching across her lips. Flying sound like fun. How do you do that, Leo? Several moments passed with stories spilling out from Leo and small anecdotes from the family, laughter making its way through the knots of apprehension that had restrained Jessica. For the first time, she felt hope blooming in the air around them, but then she remembered her purpose in being there. She had to seize this moment. I need you all to understand something. Her voice steadied, brewing with courage. Leo is who he is. He needs the freedom to be himself without all the expectations we sometimes carry. A heaviness gripped the room, but voices like her mother's reassured her. We do love him, Jess, we just worry. I know. But worry shouldn't cloud his light, she replied, letting out the breath she didn't know she was holding. He has his challenges, but to him, they don't exist in the same way. He dreams big, he desires to share his world, and it's incredible. Let us be part of that story instead of judging the chapters we don't understand. Leo's face glowed with pride as he listened, connecting their worlds through his fiery tales. As eyes softened around her, something shifted. We would never want to hurt him, her sister finally said. Maybe we just didn't know how to be there for you both. That was the turning point. Jessica felt the warmth flooding her heart again. Let us change that. Let's learn from him, not impose our expectations. Her family began to speak one after another, sharing their thoughts how they too struggled to see the beauty behind fears and uncertainties. In that moment, an understanding hung in the air. They were learning together, not just to accept Leo but to embrace him fully with all his quirks and radiant spirit. Telling stories could be the start, Jessica said, excitedly reflecting on the words thrown around the room. Let us write something together, a book about dragons who are different but talented in their own way. Her mother nodded, wiping away a tear. I'd like that, I think that sounds beautiful. And just like that, Jessica surfaced from the depths of fear and found light surging forth. The space felt alive with new energy, acceptance weaving together the fabric of their family. As they explored new ideas and bounced off each other's thoughts, Jessica's heart swelled with gratitude. She had not only shown them Leo's world, but they had begun to enter it, brick by brick. The evening rolled on, filled with hope, laughter, and all the love she craved. She slipped her hand into Leo's, feeling his warmth. He looked up at her, a question in his eyes. Can we have more adventures? He asked quietly. Absolutely, she whispered. Together, forever. This was just the beginning of their journey, now it's your turn to show your support. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you won't miss the next exclusive stories, leave a like now to feed the algorithm and let others share in these journeys, comment below and let us know your favorite moment from this story, and share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. You need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Only true fans understand the importance of lifting this channel up through your incredible actions.